got all of your tone caps that what they're doing is tweaking different frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well,
each one of these is tuned to a different frequency, so that you got your highs, mids, and lows, and each one of these caps takes that part of the frequency and tailors it. You know?
Yeah.
All these caps tailor the sound that's going to come through. These here have nothing to do with the sound. All these do is supply the voltages
and clean up the 60 cycle, huh?
Right. You can't run nothing without a power supply. Everything has to have a power supply.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially anything that runs tubes.
Taking off the grid stopper now?
Yeah. I'm just changing this one out and putting a 5 watt in like that one there. All that does is supply voltage.
Oh, okay.
Capacitors are what supply different frequencies.
Oh,
resistors just change voltages. They drop the voltage across them. If you need to drop it down or you need it to go up, either which way you go, that's what resistors are used for.
So what's the reason that you would call a resistor like an 100K resistor or
100K is 100,000 ohms. That's how much resistance it's got inside it.
Oh, that's ohmage. That's not actual frequency they're talking about. Okay.
They have nothing to do with frequency. Resistors don't.
100K would make me think it's 100 kilohertz, but
microfarads are frequencies. Picofarads, microfarads, that's all frequencies. That's caps.
Yeah.
When you're talking about frequencies, you're talking about caps.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could be talking about coils. Coils. Coils also have frequency, a frequency that they run at. The EQ that goes in this, it's got a different frequency coil for each one of these slides. That's how the EQ on these work. Instead of using caps, they use the coils.
Okay.
They handle more power. And
then where do the coils get sent to?
Well, I ain't got one here to show you.
Each
one takes that frequency of that slide and either pushes it up or down.
Well, where does it send it back to?
Well, that thing is connected between the preamp and the power amp.
Okay.
You know, you've seen it on the schematic, didn't you?
No, I actually need to check that out. I haven't even checked it out yet.
I think the schematic's laying right there.
For
your little thing.
For the Mark II C+?
For the Mark IIB, and it's about the same amp. These resistors right here are what we're replacing right now. These two 100 ohm. They come off the 6.3 volts that heats up all these tubes. They'd go to ground.
There's the coils you were just talking about right here.
That's them right there, see? This comes in from the EQ and EQ out, which would be right here off of the lead master to the input of the EQ, and the output goes to the power amp right here, or the preamp out jack.
So you're getting voltage from the pot of the master coming into the EQ, and then
we're not talking about voltage. We're talking about signal here.
Signal, yeah.
Yeah. Voltage is what runs it. You know, you've got the voltage that runs it going right here. Let's see where it comes in. See that 50.4 volts on that transistor? You got 4 transistors that operate.
Yeah, I see 50.4, sure.
And each one of these has got a voltage. There's minus 46 volts, see, minus 30 volts. Can't read that. Is that minus 30?
It's minus 30.4.
Yeah. Now those caps that we just changed, that's these two. See these 220s?
Oh yeah, right there.
Yeah.
And that's the beginning of the amp then, right there.
It's right out of the transformer, see?
Okay.
And that's those 4 diodes that we was looking at a while ago. The ones that was right here.
Those triangles?
These 2 and these 2, yeah. And these 2 here are the ones that go to the bias. Gives you your minus 50 volts, minus 52 here.
Does that represent DC here, or is that,
No,
or is that just the series?
That's the AC input's what that is.
Okay.
See here where it plugs in the wall?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the secondary part of the transformer is this part here, which is the 6.3 volts. And this is your high voltage here, the 450 that we looked at a while ago. And this is how it walks down all those caps. In between those caps, you see these resistors.
Mm-hmm.
That makes the voltage drop a little bit more, each one of them it goes through. Time it gets over here to this one, look at the voltage, 266.
Dropping from 425 to...
Yep, all the way down to 200 something.
And what section is this?
That's the very first tube. That's the input jack right there.
Okay.
The voltage will gradually get back up as it comes up toward the output tubes. And you got here, this is your bias voltage right here, minus 52.
Okay.
See? That's the one that comes off of these 2 diodes right here. This is something everybody needs to know how to do right here, cleaning pots.
Get all that grit and grind out of the way. I actually just heard a story last night of this guitar shop that let a $800 JCM or JC70, Roland JC70, they let it go for $100, and all it needed was its pots cleaned.
Why'd they do that?
They just didn't know. Some of these music shops they're not.
God.
If they just don't have anybody on staff
Nobody
that
knows
that
anything.
knows to check that, I guess.
Wow.
I'm just guessing, but I guess if you're making most of your money just selling new gear,
Yeah.
well then what's the point of having a guy on staff that knows how to take it all apart and fix it? When you go, that's not what we do. We sell new.
Yeah. Probably most of them are that way nowadays.
So this is what you use if you want to keep all the novice players from using the Mesa Boogie Mark II C+.
Man, this thing sounds good.
Really cool playing.
Clean. You hear every note, can't you?
Let's try this guy out clean on just like the... Mesa Boogie.
Did that get rid of the noise that you were hearing?
Oh yeah, and
It fixed that, didn't it?
I think it was probably the output.
The pots was probably dirty too, wasn't they?
Pots was dirty as hell.
Were they?
Yeah, yeah. So that was nice.
That took all that noise out. It's quiet as hell there.
Yeah, it sounded pretty. Well, they've got like several different versions of this Mark II C+, so
Yeah.
it's like
And they made
simulcast.
different little mods to them all along, you know. They find out something sounded a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so they would just change at the manufacturing.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and make a
They
change real quick.
just kept making them better and better, the Mark series.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that they did was like the customers themselves, like they gave them an order sheet and they chose everything that they wanted in the amp. The EQ, the simulcast, the long chassis, what color it was, you know, it's the whole 9 yards. Reverb, no reverb.
Yep. That EQ is really nice, though. That's one of the best things you can get on one of them. But you've got the regular Mesa EQ, so.
Yeah.
What did that cost you?
200.
That ain't bad at all.
No, not bad.
Was that new?
It was B stock new. I actually paid $175 for it on reverb.
Got any pawn shops that have them?
Probably.
Man, they're hard to find around here. You don't find any good quality stuff in the pawn shops anymore. All they got's junk.
Yeah. No, everyone's selling their shit online.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Probably, I'm sure you get better money online than you do at a pawn shop.
Oh yeah.
Probably find better stuff too, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
All the junkies are the ones that sell stuff in pawn shops up in Ohio.
Steal their dad's guitar.
Right, right. And
I was at
stuff, just whatever they.
I was at that store in Corbin one day, and this guy walked in with one of those Nashville B-Bender tellies. I mean, a nice
Bigsby?
one, a deluxe model. They're about a $1,600 telly with the built-in B-Bender, you know.
For Bigsby?
Yeah, no, not Bigsby, the B-Bender.
Oh, the B-Bender, okay.
Yeah, the thing you pull the strap and it pulls, it's like doing a bend on you. You can just hold the cord and pull this on the strap. That's how those country pickers do all them bends, man.
Really?
Yeah, they got B-Benders on them.
Shit.
Yeah, ain't you ever played one of those?
No, I've never even heard of those.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're expensive as hell. He come in there, I just happened to be there. I was doing some work for the store. He wanted to sell that guitar for $200 in a hard shell case.
Oh my God.
I said, I wouldn't touch that. It was a 10-foot pole,
Yeah.
man. And
Case alone's 200.
And she looked at it, man, the lady on the store, and she said, take that back home to your daddy,
Yeah.
you know. He ain't getting me in trouble.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he gave this to me.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Even the pawn shop is like liable for stolen goods if they get it.
When they know it.
Yeah.
Like that. Somebody says, you know, hey, give me $50 for this gold watch.
Right.
No.
Well, Guitar Center has to leave newly used goods, you know, goods that they just received. They have to set them in their warehouse for a month or two before it clears like a police search.
Yeah, just in case.
Really?
Yeah. I had an amp that was...
In case an investigator comes asking questions,
Yeah.
they stand a chance of finding it.
That looks good so far. Now I need to replace the grid stoppers, and I need 100 ohm resistors for the voltage on the heaters. Now that's probably going to still have 200 volts on it. So we're going to want to get rid of that.
Oh, from firing it up just now.
These capacitors will retain the voltage, right? Those are just batteries.
Yeah, don't touch them. Got 94 volts on it. It's enough to hurt you.
Just right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enough to hurt you, ain't it?
So those capacitors prevent DC from getting through, right?
They take the ripple out of the DC.
Okay, the ripple.
Ripple is noise. When you're hearing it ripple, you see it on the scope. It just looks like noise.
Okay.
You know what noise looks like on the scope.
Sure.
And that takes all that out. Gets rid of all the ripple.
So it reduces like a signal like
It makes
that.
it look like an S when you put an S in it.
Yeah.
But without the caps, it would just be fuzzy looking, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But that would make it seem like it would be an AC volt with the S, right? Because
That is AC.
that's AC, but you're saying it takes the DC and makes it an S.
Well, it makes it smooth.
It smooths out the DC. What you're trying to get is a power supply that is smooth. It doesn't have any ripple.
Okay.
Just straight from here to here. Straight line. Instead of a S, it'll
Okay.
just jump up, straight up like that, just flat line.
All right.
That much voltage above ground.
That's what you want.
That's what you're looking for, yeah.
Straight as hell.
And even with all these caps, you're not going to get all that clean. It's not going to be like a battery clean.
Yeah.
But it's going to be close enough to where it ain't going to hum. You know, these things hum terrible when these caps go bad. They have that sound.
Is it easy to hear it even in under the best circumstances? Can you still hear a little bit of DC in the signal?
Most times you can hear a little bit in all tube amps, but these are pretty good, man. They got a pretty good power supply. They don't hum hardly any.
Do you hear it more when the pickups are facing the speakers?
Yeah.
That's when you hear the DC more?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the sound then. We could get I could get an example of that for the video.
That 60 cycle hum's what you want to get rid of.
Right.
And 60 cycle hum is
It's coming out of the wall.
that's the distortion that you were talking. That's like the fuzzy
That's the hum
DC.
you're wanting to get rid of, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Capacitors is a very complicated
Yeah, you
subject.
spend-
It
you
took
spend
me a
days
month in school to go through
Understand what's happening
capacitors.
inside there.
You know, and they do so much in so many different circuits.
Yeah.
Everything that's designed has a cap and a resistor in it. I mean,
Every component has its own cap.
yeah, they use caps for all kinds of circuitry, and trying to explain it to somebody that knows nothing about electronics, I can't see us doing that.
Sure.
We need to leave it alone. Just say caps, make it quiet.
I'm